Welcome to the podcast where we speak truth, illuminate power, and fully embody who the fuck we are. This is the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. We are all about spiritual evolution, spiritual growth, talking about the things that may be controversial, even some triggering concepts, but we are all about expansion. Come on in and join us as we reclaim and recenter ourselves in the power of who we really are. We are the Light Warriors, and welcome to the revolution. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 125 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. And I have a beautiful guest on today. Her name is Stephanie Healy, and we dive into some pragmatic conversation today about the body. We obviously weave in spirituality and energy into the space of this and how we move through healing, but we're really diving into the nervous system today to talk about the dysregulation that has been moving through the collective energy for years, where I really believe like before 2020, we could hold an energy differently. We were pulsing in that masculine. We moved through that masculine. We were in it. We were hustling. We were meeting to meeting, doing the thing, staying up late, executing, getting all the stuff done. And then 2020 transpired, but we also moved through the energy of the Aquarius energy opened up. And I don't know if you guys remember, it was in February of 2020 that the Aquarian energy, the literal energy of that transitioned us into more divine feminine. And then all of a sudden we started seeing this play in the world of not being able to hold it, needing more quiet time, connecting in deeper, being called back to nature, and all the things that I speak about often. And so we dive into this conversation today about the nervous system, about allowing ourselves to move through, about some key components that are shifting in the collective and what this means for us, somatic releases that will help the nervous system regulate. And we tie in some of the spiritual journey, of course, in the space of everything. So let me just tell you a little bit about Stephanie before we get into the episode. She is an award-winning coach, passionate about empowering women to thrive without burnout. By combining her expertise in health, mindset, and nervous system regulation, she guides clients towards balanced, fulfilling lives with less stress and more aligned, confident action. Her approach blends practical tools with deep transformative work, helping clients overcome obstacles, embrace their true potential, and create a life that they love, right? So this was an amazing conversation. She is also in Ireland right now when we recorded this, which is even more fun because if you've noticed over the last few guest episodes, everybody's all over the world. They're in different parts of the world. One was in Germany, another one was in India, living in Australia, and now we've got some Ireland roots. And I'm like, let's expand worldwide. Let's just keep this movement moving and moving through the collective energy of bringing in these messages into the world. So with no further ado, I want to introduce to you Stephanie in episode 125 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. Well, I am delighted, excited, and in full-blown safety right now to step up into the field today with Stephanie to chat about some really cool stuff. And a lot of you guys are on this pathway of regulating your body systems, of understanding that we're in this newer energy of really allowing ourselves to flow in our divine feminine and open up certain pathways. And a lot of us are dismantling some of the old systems in our world. And the conversation we're about to have today in connection with nervous systems and safeties and what this means right now for the energetic collective and how we're leaning in is going to be a potent expander for you. So with no further ado, I want to introduce Stephanie to you guys. I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome to the podcast.
Yay, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. And you know, it's one of these things that I've been recently noticing, at least over the last few years, that a lot of us are starting to pay attention to our nervous system, pay attention to when we're overwhelmed, pay attention to when we're in anxiety. And this is showing up a lot in the collective energy for us to kind of move through. So tell us a little bit about what this work looks like for you. Like you've transitioned business into this, you see that there's a huge need, you're really being called to help serve people in this calibration, let's say. So tell us a little bit more about what is that nervous system holding for us and how is it showing up in the world right now for us? Like, what are we calling forth?
Yeah, so I guess there's a couple of different areas to do with it. One being that We're moving faster now more than ever. We're like, might be rushing to get to work, rushing to collect the kids, rushing in the mornings. I just feel that a lot of people are like living 90 miles an hour.
Mm.
So we have a lot more responsibilities these days. We have a lot more apps on our phones. You might think you're just going on for a 5 minute scroll, and then you're there like 20 minutes later
Yeah.
and you jump off, and it's like you don't even know what you were just looking at.
Right.
Sometimes we consume this information and we learn from it and we absorb it, great. But other times it can just be dopamine hit after dopamine hit after dopamine hit, and it's too much for our brain and our nervous system to handle.
Mm.
And this can also take away from other things that would maybe once have given us joy. Something as simple as like a sunset or a sunrise, or hearing the birds chirping, because we're constantly seeking this excitement in our body from someone's dad jumping around the kitchen,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. And another big part of it is when we're children, if we were ever made to feel unloved, unsafe, unhappy, maybe we were made fun of. It could be a 1 second incident, or the same situation happening over and over, and it could happen in a multitude of ways. But when this happens to a child, for instance, let's say they run home, like an example could be that they run home showing the parents their homework and they think that they did a really great job, and maybe the dad's just really tired after work, really stressed, and he's like, I don't want to look at this now, for God's sake, come back to me tomorrow, or like, who cares, it's just your homework, something like that. That's just a random example.
Yeah.
But this can be so shocking to a child's nervous system. It's not the response that they were expecting. And it can really, that moment can really shape the nervous system then of that person right up until their adult life. So,
Right.
we all probably know somebody, it could be yourself, in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, and you might be known as being really sensitive, or you might walk away from a conversation like thinking, why do I feel like, I'm on the brink of tears? Or why do you maybe feel like you completely overreact in situations? And it could be happening over and over again. So a lot of the time is because although we've grown up, our bodies have like grown, our hair has changed, our skin, personality, everything has developed and matured, but our nervous system can actually still be living from a state of that incident of like
Mm.
the 5-year-old or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy. And until we connect the mind, the body, and I always also like to bring in the spirit,
Mhm.
until we bring everything back into balance and communicate all three channels with one another, that is when we can move on then with a regulated nervous system and be able to regulate ourselves in moments of stress. Yeah. And just being more aware of, you have a busier life now, all these apps on our phones, social media, different triggers. For instance, if you're waking up in the morning, like our body still isn't awake properly, our hormones are coming back online if they were asleep during the night. We are waking up, and if you're scrolling on your phone before you get out of bed and you see Susie from down the road is like living her best life, living in Barbados or something, and you just automatically sink back into yourself, like you feel really low, you're maybe going to a job that you don't like, maybe you're looking at someone else's body online, comparing yourselves, and like before your feet even touch the ground, you already feel triggered, you already feel unhappy in your own skin, you might feel fearful, panicky, anxious, and so it's like all of what I've just said, mixed into one person and their delicate little nervous system. It's really a lot.
Well, and yeah, and I love that you brought all these dimensions up because some of the work I do in the world is like inner child work, and
Oh, love it.
it's
Yeah,
tied to this exact thing. So we have the
100%.
physical form, right, that you're assisting move energy through in recognizing the emotional patterns that are stuck in the body, the things that are transpiring, those reactions that transition. But like you said, they all play together, right? So
Totally.
it's going back to that those versions of us when we were
Yes.
5, when that incident happened that created the infrastructure of energy that now moves, and then
Hmm.
supporting the body with tools to be able to allow the physical form to now come into connection with this aspect of healing, of moving through energy, of all the things. And
Hmm.
it's a potent expander if we actually take a look at it. And if we actually start to really be in our life, and that's the
Hmm.
key, is the being. Like, we're
Yes.
overwhelmed, we're stressed, we're anxious, we're moving things forward, we're taking our
Hmm.
phones up in the morning, we're getting triggered by stuff, and we're hustling and hustling and hustling. And
Yeah.
it's almost like before 2020, that was acceptable behavior. It's almost like we
Hmm.
could and didn't really know any different, and we could hold it for a while. And then we would have the weekend and we'd recalibrate and we'd dive in, and then we'd start again in the week. And it wasn't like we ever looked at it differently, like we kind of wanted more vacations and some of us were driven for more things, but it didn't really connect, at least with a lot of people that I've seen. And then we
Yeah.
all paused in 2020. And then it was like
Mm.
this opening happened. And then it was like, oh my God, like I don't really want to get back in my car and go to 5 meetings a day and run around town and do the things, and then come home and do more work and do all this stuff that's transpiring. And it's
Totally.
like we started to
Yeah.
see life differently, which then opened up all this stuff. Like, I hadn't heard of breath work before 2020, like really heard of it. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
breathing, but not like
Yes.
breath work, not
Yeah.
like it is today, and all these parts. So let's chat about that a little bit, because there's tools and assets that you're now seeing come to life with people and where people are at in the world. And I'd love for you just to kind of dive in a bit more, even to like what you're seeing, and what are some of the tools that you're guiding people with, or that people can really start to look at even in their life to make this transition.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with everything that you've just said. And I think number one thing that comes to mind is like our spirituality is everything. And if you're not open to it, or you think like, it's not real or whatever, just for a moment, just have an open mind of what if, like I coached a client just the other week, and in 1 hour from doing some inner child work and meditation and breathing and combining the mind, body, and spirit together, within 1 hour, she was able to uncover a couple of blocks from connecting past versions of herself to her current version.
Mhm.
And she realized what was at the core of what had been going on in her life the past 2.5 years. Literally, it was like
Yeah.
instant. She could connect the dots, and she was like, oh my goodness, and yeah, it was just amazing to see that breakthrough happen in such a short space of time. And then getting different perspectives and downloads coming in over the next couple of days, really being able to piece different parts of her life together, and then being able to implement new boundaries, pulling back in other parts and other areas of her life, and make these huge shifts within like a week, and feeling so much lighter in her body for doing so, and just feeling the benefits of it. So yeah, it's amazing, like all the work that people are doing around the world, and the work that you're doing, like bringing all of this into people's awareness when they're scrolling online, hopefully. And
Yes, funny. Yes, when they're scrolling
yeah,
in their
yeah,
potency of
yeah,
safety, when they can hold it and not being triggered, like,
yeah,
in the
yeah.
space of all of that. I just want to touch on one thing that you just mentioned is, we think that it's going to be hard sometimes to heal, to move through, to get answers. But we're
Mhm.
finding, especially now with the veils being so thin, with us having access to all this energy, that we
Yeah.
literally are collapsing time. So we can do an hour session and get what we
Hmm.
need and move that through and get more additional work with it over the next couple of days and expand it and move through. And as long as we take action around it, it heals and
Yes.
stays current. So I just wanted to bring that up, because I've watched people in breathwork sessions literally remove all the pain in their body in one session. And
Yes.
this is
Yes.
possible
Yeah.
when we do a couple things, believe that we can, when we're really focused in that area and desire that to move. And
Yeah.
then we do whatever actions are coming out of that as protocols to sustain that belief, to sustain that energetic coding. So I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
I said that, because I think it's
Yeah, of
important for
course. And it's
people.
all about creating safety in our body. So
Mhm.
when we do feel triggered or attacked or anxious or even holding all this trauma, it's we don't feel safe in our body. And until you have that safety, it's going to be very hard to maybe even, yeah, achieve like your health and wellness goals, your business goals, your relationship goals. Like, how can you pour into something when your body doesn't feel safe in itself? And
Yeah.
it can be very confusing to try and figure all this out from a logical point of view. It can be so confusing. You might be losing interest in what once brought you joy, and you just feel this disconnection. But it's just actually signs that you're on the right track, that things are coming to the surface that you need to sort out. So there's no need to be afraid to like face your traumas. Once you work with somebody who is qualified, who, you know, cares, who's able to help you, maybe it's in a group setting as well. But yeah, the power of breath work also, I just think breath work is amazing. Depending on like the type of breath work you do, but if
Yeah.
you're breathing on like a deep cellular level for an hour, which is what I did for 6 weeks in lockdown online. And
I
it was
love it.
amazing. It was my
Yeah.
first introduction to breath work, but it brought up something that I literally had blocked out of my mind from like many, many, many years ago. And then it was just like, boom, there. And I had to go to therapy to work through it. Now I'm really grateful, and I, you know, worked through it and it came out the other side.
Yeah.
But it was very uncomfortable. And we didn't actually get any pre-warning of the breathwork coach. You know, he didn't say like a lot of stuff might come up. We're breathing on such a deep level, like we're, you know, pulling out all the roots, I guess, out of like your garden. So there was no pre-warning. There was no kind of like follow-up or check-in that we were doing okay. I didn't actually know anyone else doing this breath work, so I felt really like
Yeah, it wasn't a
grounded
thing,
in
right?
myself, but
Yeah.
ungrounded, you know? So
Yeah.
just as a warning, just be very mindful before you step into these breathwork journeys. And yeah, maybe just like ask the teacher a couple of questions. But yeah, breathwork, like, and yeah, we're not even taught how to breathe properly in school. You know,
No.
like I when I teach mobility exercises to calm the nervous system and relax our body and relieve stress, I always tell people to do deep belly breaths, like as if you're blowing your stomach out like a balloon. And people really struggle because we're so used to just breathing into our throat.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not taught in school, so it can take time to get the hang of the breath work. But I think, yeah, just everyday tools for people is like, honestly, just remember how amazing you are. You are so, so, so worthy, and you have so much power inside. Like, oh my God, you know, we're in a world that we're constantly seeking externally, looking for answers, looking for answers. It might be looking on the shelf for another tablet to take for your cough, or, you know, looking online to get answers for what's going on. Like, if you can just quieten your mind, you don't even have to meditate, but I think just like sitting in silence, your feet on the earth, or visualizing your feet going into the earth if it's not possible to sit outside, um, you will get like little glimmers, I think, then of intuition of what you need to do throughout the day ahead. Because when we are quiet, that's when our intuition comes through. That's when like spirit or God or the universe can come through you and help you and give you like you know, little nuggets of information. Or I read a whole book on coincidences, and there's no such thing. So it's like, if you see a sign on a billboard and it resonates with you with, oh God, maybe I should go after my dreams, or maybe I should phone that person, like take that as a sign. Once you start leaning into these signs or synchronicities, like honestly, your whole life will change, and you'll just feel so guided, and you'll really see how much power you have inside yourself. Yeah.
Well, it's really fun too. Like, I actually believe that every single one of us is creating our own reality. And so, like, we've actually put that sign there for ourselves. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's there to awaken in remembrance the human, and to help the human connect the dots, that they're not just this human
Mm-hmm.
on earth
Mm-hmm.
meant to work this 9 to 5 or all the things that they do in the space of it, that you're actually here for a reason. Right. And it's like,
Totally.
we've planted all these landscapes, like that song. Like, I used to play this game all the time with my spirit guides. I'd be like, okay, guides, give me
Yeah,
a
your spirit
song
guide.
with a message that I need today. And then I'd
Love
go
it.
shuffle, and I had
Yeah,
like 9,000 songs on my phone, right? So I'd go shuffle, and then that
yeah.
one song would be like, and I'd be like, I don't even know the song even got on my phone. Like, who is this person even? And it's
Mm.
like, that's the games I would play, because everything is an energetic connection. right?
Totally. And
Yeah.
like I think it was oh, I don't know which spiritual teacher it was, but they said to like write down these signs and synchronicities you get. And like if you look back at the end of the week, because it can be you can be quick to forget, you know, well I think I am
Yeah.
nowadays. But yeah, if you write down like signs or if you ask for help and like seeing the help that you got that day, write it down. And then when you're reflecting, it's like, oh my God, like I'm so guided at all times, you know?
Yeah, well, we are. And that's the thing
We
about being
are.
awareness, like in being in our bodies. So it's
Being more
that's the
aware.
key. Like I now granted, I most people are like, well, you live in the jungle and you're in Costa Rica. I'm like, yeah, but I made a conscious choice to move here. But we
Yes,
wake up with the sun, like literally the sun creeps over the mountain here, and it's like the world is awakened. So that's why
yes,
when I said to you at 6 o'clock in the morning, these guys are doing construction because life happens. And then at night, it's like it's quiet at like 8:30. Like you can't, like it's hardly anybody's around, like restaurants are shut down, like life is because you go to sleep with the circadian rhythm of the earth. And that's how we've
yes,
been actually
yes,
created. But most
yes.
of our life has been in North America and Europe and moving through energies and create like and
Mm,
literally it's almost like the opposing to what we're actually here to be and do. And this conversation about creating safety and allowing the body to have safety is in
yes.
these moments. So what can people do? Like they're maybe they're not into breath work yet, but there's like you talked about mobility and some somatic
Mhm,
stuff. Like what can people do that maybe they don't have the tools or they're not ready to take somebody on or they're just sort of maybe learning about what this
mm,
actually means? How can they start to
mm.
regulate this and pay attention really?
Yeah, well, I guess everybody, I guess, learns or resonates with different modalities in different ways. So for some people, it might be journaling. Somebody else, it could be meditation. Um, I really think like sitting in silence before you go near your phone in the morning, before you do anything, just sitting for 5 minutes or even during the day or in the evening. But just like for me, I think the biggest thing is like our phones, just trying to be on your phone a little bit less when you're in company with people, being present with them, being present as much as you can throughout the day. And as you said, we're not here to like work, commute, like maybe be overweight, be depressed, like really struggle every day. We're not here for that to happen. I do think that we're all on our own journey and that everybody has some sort of trauma in some sort of a way. I don't know, that's just my opinion. And then we're on this journey to like clear it and then come back to
Yeah.
ourselves and our
Yeah.
own like divine essence at the core. And then yeah, just like feel really amazing from the inside out. But yeah, I think just yeah, being present like in your body, in your mind, and like, you know, like I studied anatomy when I was studying to be a holistic therapist and learning about all the different, you know, systems like the nervous system, like our skin and you know, like when we sneeze, it's because something's gone up our nose that our body doesn't like, and it's like an automatic response to like shoot it out. Or if we get something in our eye and our eye waters up, our eye is like bringing more water to that eye to push it out so that we can pull it out from here. You know what I mean? It's like our bodies are amazing and our heart keeps beating when we sleep. Like, you know, I think that for me was when I really like just started like waking up kind of to everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you don't have to obviously go off and learn everything about your body, but just being more in tune and like connecting with yourself, even maybe just putting on moisturizing cream, like just being intentional with yourself and stop giving yourself and your power away to maybe like thoughts or people that are not for your highest good. Like we've all been there, you know, worrying about what other people think or people pleasing and like having zero boundaries just to like please other people. But how does it leave you? Like depleted, tired, like exhausted, and usually not happy and disconnected. So, yeah, I think if you kind of look at your life and reflect, and then where can you bring some of that time or energy back into yourself to pour into yourself?
Yeah. And this is like the slowing down is actually the
Mm.
speeding up. And what I mean
It
by that, yeah,
100%, honestly, like the other
yeah,
week, I literally wasn't getting anything done. Like I had loads to do, but I had nothing to show for it. And I
Yeah.
was like, I haven't meditated the last few days, but I was like so anxious. I didn't even want to stop to meditate, you know. And I was like, no, like you have to practice what you preach, you know. So it's like, yeah, I'm a coach, but I mess up sometimes as well.
We're human.
Um,
I say that all the time. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm
of
like, guys, I need
course.
you to remember I'm human. Okay. So then when I'm
Mm.
telling you this story, I'm also in this experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And I try and be like so transparent on Instagram as well, you know, just to like we're all so relatable with each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I like went back to meditating and journaling, and I was like smashing my goals again, you know, smashing my tick list in a calm way as well. I wasn't stressed and I was just getting the work done. So slowing down to speed up is fact.
Well, and it's the expansion. So we've been conditioned that we think like the 9 to 5 energy work in the world is that you go to work and you get paid for that hour, and that's the hour of work. And that is the system that's been running through. When if we
Yeah,
start to play in the energetic field and work with
yeah,
energy, an hour doesn't equal this. It equals, it could be the expander that opens it up, and it's a $10,000 hour instead of $100 hour, you know? And it's like, we're
yeah,
dismantling all these systems. We're
yes,
dismantling a lot of the energy of the old world energies, of the hustle, of the this, of the that, like everything is being
yeah,
crumbled. And we're coming
yeah,
back into this alignment where we don't have to work harder to actually
yes,
achieve. We can
yes.
be in our life and achieve more, whatever achieve
Yeah.
means for you. So, yeah.
Exactly. And I think that can be so hard for some people to grasp. And again, I get caught up in it sometimes as well.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, the slowing down and like doing something every single day that brings you joy or that's going to make you laugh, or like what did you like doing as a child, you know? I hear people all the time, oh, I'd love to do this. I wish I could do that. And I'm like, why don't you? Like make time to do that, even if it's once a week, like it will literally change your life. And
Mhm.
especially for women, like the time that they get their period, to like really honor that, really slow down, don't lift as heavy at the gym. Honoring your body at that time for me changes the whole course of the next month ahead. When you really slow down that week, it's like so powerful, and it can be hard, but when you see the benefits of it the weeks after, it's like wow, you know. And like your body's going through a whole transition. You're not expected to be like on, and we
Mhm.
don't have the same like circadian rhythm as men. We don't have the same strength each day of the month. We don't have the same energy levels. We don't have the same creativity. So we're not like, we should be expected to operate like a man in the 9 to 5, you know? And
Yeah.
obviously men should have breaks as well, but I'm just highlighting for women with our cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's about really getting back into the pure roots of who we are, not the
Yes.
conditioning of what we think we need to be, but
Yeah.
really connecting back within and allowing ourselves to move through this experience. You know, I'm a
Yeah.
part of a collective of 13 women that we come together and do energetic work. And we've sat around tables with each other in physical form in multiple lifetimes ago and actually doing this exact same work. And we call it the
Wow.
vortex of the womb, when the womb opens for like a woman's bleed time. And it's actually like a celebration of
Yes. Mhm.
energy, because if you really
Yeah.
think back to that, and most of us are just thinking about our periods, and most women are like, I don't want my period and all the things, it's like that's the creative vortex. Like that is
Yes.
showing
Yes.
you this and obviously there's a lot of people that aren't awakened in the world, and they don't get, they just think it's just a physical thing, and it's like it's a all of it, every single part of this mechanism of earth is all spiritually aligned, everything.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
all energy, right?
Yes.
And it's this powerful vortex. And it's like when we start to understand this, like you brought up about the body is a healer. The body
Mhm.
calibrates its own self. The body
Yeah.
is nature. And the
Yes.
moment we start to recognize it, then we change the aspect of how we show up in our bodies.
Yes.
And we start to
Yes.
reconnect back in and do the things that
Mm.
allow our
Mhm.
bodies to reconnect back in.
Totally. Oh my God, I love all of that. And
Yeah.
yeah, when we slow down and yeah, connecting with our body, your whole life changes. Like you can step into a room and trust how your body feels, like, trust your gut.
Yeah,
And we've all gone against our gut and then realized, oh God, I should have gone with those
of
first
course.
thoughts in my head, or that nauseous feeling in my stomach. But when you really are aware, I guess, and you
Hmm.
can really trust yourself, yeah, your body is like a compass to life, and with
Right.
like with people that you want to have around you, and like, are they, somebody said to me the other day, are they radiators or drainers? If there's
Mm.
radiators in life and drainers, and
Yeah.
yeah, you want to be around like more radiators than not.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we're coming into a really potent year, 2025. We're still in upheavaling and uprooting and the shadow work that's necessary and dismantling systems and cycles and all the things still that we've been doing over the last while. But it's a year that's really propelling us into the liberation years coming up in 2026, 2027, and beyond that. And letting go is one of the
Yes.
themes of the 2025 year that when I've tapped into channel and all the things, it's like letting go of all the things that no longer serve us. And that could
Mm,
be careers, that could be business offerings, that could be relationships, that could be foods that you eat, that could be the way you show up in the world physically, meaning certain workouts are no longer serving you, but we're being called forward to this. So I'd love for you to
wow.
just chat a little bit about this letting go energy within the
Mm,
body. Like
mm,
how do we really start to pay attention to this in this next
mm.
year? If that is the theme, one of
Yeah.
the many
Yeah.
themes, then how do people really start to move with this regulation of being able to let go certain things? And it could pair up obviously with what I've already said, but I just love to hear your
Yeah.
thoughts because
Yeah, no, I love that. I think, yeah, wow, God, there's so much to that. Well, number one that comes to mind is food. I think, if you're eating like whole foods, nutritious foods, like colorful foods, for a while, and then you maybe get a takeaway or have some days that you're not eating great, like you just don't feel great in yourself. You're slower, you might have brain fog, and the difference in foods is that like some foods are high vibrational, other foods aren't. So yeah, just being mindful of what like you're eating. My mum used to say anything out of a pack is crap.
yeah, go
Or
mom.
there's another saying, like, if your grandmother couldn't read the ingredients, you shouldn't have it. But the 80-20 rule, like if you can try and eat like whole nutritious foods 80% of the time, organic, great. That's not an option for everybody. So like don't worry about it. And it's your intention, just being intentional when you're eating.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, exercise, like I don't see the need for someone to go to the gym twice a day, hitting it hard 7 days a week. Like there's such a real thing as overtraining, and you don't want to look the part but be completely disconnected to yourself, or, look amazing, but your feminine energy is actually like really, really low. So yeah, training, but like yoga and stretching and mobility and stuff like that, they're just as important as like your, heavy workouts. And I think, yeah, people like is a huge one for me. Really tuning in and checking in with yourself. Like, how do you feel before you're about to meet this person or group? How do you feel with them? And how do you feel after them, after being around them in your body? How do you feel? Do you feel lit up? Maybe you might feel more creative, you feel expansive, excited, or do you feel like you're questioning things that they said? Was there some passive aggressive comments? Were they being funny, or were they actually being hurtful? Are you just questioning a lot of what was going on? Maybe then you just need to have a conversation with the person, or maybe it's a time to cut your losses. And yeah, I think just finding people, like I love that you have that group now of women, and you help one another, and you've were in past lifetimes with each other. Like that's so amazing. The importance of community is just massive, and I really think that we're becoming so much more aware of that, particularly
Yeah.
since COVID.
Yeah.
Like loneliness is a real thing. I've moved countries quite a bit, and I've before I knew how much my kind of thoughts controlled my life and reality, I spent a lot of time on my own, or like in on
Mm.
weekends. I just didn't have like, say, kind of the right people around me, or so I thought. Um, but yeah, like, there's being alone and there's being lonely. So seeking out people with similar interests to you. Maybe it's CrossFit, maybe it's a women's circle, but definitely like actively looking for people. And if you're single and you're in your 30s or 40s, that's okay. There's other people that are single, you know, at that age too. And like there's nothing wrong with you. And I say that because in Ireland it's so like, you know, you go to school, you go to college, you meet someone, or you like, you know, you marry your boyfriend from high school and then you have the baby, and it's like their societal expectations. It doesn't mean it's the right or the wrong way, like, but just staying true to yourself and just going back to spending time on your own. Um, Maybe there will be times that you spend time on your own, which is also good and healthy. But like for me, I've always chose to be on my own rather than in the wrong company. You know, I've zero tolerance for anyone trying to bring me down or mess with my head, or, you know, when we're with the right people, for me, it's like almost like a drug, you know, it's just, I just think it's so amazing and just so beautiful when you're around people who like really get you, really understand you. They're not judging you. They might be supporting you with a business idea that you have, or helping, you know, bring out your inner child or with your confidence. And yeah, so finding good people is like definitely important.
Yeah. And I think that some of us are so stuck in our ways that we don't think that people that talk the way we do, like, for years, I never spoke about some of the stuff that transpires in my world. Like I channel dragons and I see entities and all the things that transpire for me. And I
Yeah.
just didn't think people would accept me like that. So I was always
Mm,
diminishing my light years ago. And then I made a decision once that I was like, screw this. I want to find people that I can talk to about all the crazy stuff that goes on in my mind. And then I started
yeah,
finding these people
good
that
for you.
were just like open to that. And maybe they didn't know all of it, but they were like, hey, man, you do
Mm,
you. And like, it was this mechanism that started shifting. And then a couple of
yeah,
years ago, I
yeah,
got tested in this where my ex-boyfriend used to be a really safe place for me to talk about stuff like this. And then our separation of energy started to really move in gaps. Like we dated and then we were friends, but we also played the twin flame role, which is a whole other thing. So there was a lot of toxicity there because we kept mirroring each other in the space of it all. But there was one day where he like just ripped on me about some of the content I was putting out in the world and the things I was saying. And I was like, you're looking at me through the lens of who I used to be with you. That actually wasn't a pure me of who I was. And this is actually me showing up in the world. And I honor that you see it through your lens, but that's not my
mm,
truth. And
yeah,
I was
yeah,
able to hold it. And then
yes.
that whole relationship ended up falling apart because we couldn't. The separation was
Wow.
too big and he
Yeah,
couldn't come here and I couldn't go there. And
yeah.
it was just the timing of it all. And but
Oh,
I can let go and honor that and honor
yeah,
the transition of what we went through and take the
yeah.
lessons through that experience. But it's
Mm,
like the real big thing is that we're being called forward right now in all these ways to heal ourselves, to do the work, to reconnect back into who we are. But it's also
yeah,
to let go of the things that are just, they're just no longer aligned. And it's not because they're not good people or it's not because that thing
no.
wasn't fun.
Mm,
It's just time now that we evolve into wherever that means for each of us, so yeah.
absolutely. And yeah, I can totally relate to that, because when you're on this journey of self-discovery and coming back to your true authentic self, you will be tested, or, you know, I don't even know how to explain it really, but there'll be times that you're going to want to, it will cross your mind to like stay the same maybe, or like
Mm-hmm.
stay small or go against your truth, like oh God, it'd nearly just be easier for me to stop preaching what I believe in and just follow on, like, you know,
Yeah.
with what everybody else is doing. But staying in your power and like staying true to yourself will always, always, always pay off. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and you're never on your own. Like you do have your spirit guides, your spirit team, and you will find people that do resonate with you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the trusting mechanism, I think, of all of this. And we're really coming up against that trust of surrendering and letting go and trusting that we're being held and trusting
Yeah.
that our body will
Yeah.
heal and trust all the
Yes.
things, right? In the side
Yeah.
of the space of stuff. So yeah, this has
Yeah.
been great.
Mhm.
I obviously like I want to know, and we're gonna have links in the show notes and stuff, but I know you play on Instagram. Like, where can people find you if they're like, "Hey, I'm really jiving on this information stuff he's dropping. I want to learn more about this aspect of our work." where can people find you and what do you got going on?
Yeah, so my my website is stephaniehealycoaching.com,
Mhm.
and my Instagram is Stephanie Healy Coaching.
Mm,
And if you go to my services tab, you'll see there I've got a mobility move and flow program. So
mm.
it's for anybody really who has like tension in their back, which is probably many people.
Everyone.
Yeah, so if you're feeling stiff and tight and sore, in particular for office workers, it's just a nice little digital product of a mix of 5-minute exercises and then 15-minute ones to bring some movement and motion back into the body, relaxing the ligaments, tendons, and muscles, bringing some oxygen into our shoulders in particular, really, and our hips, and helping bring alignment back into the shoulders. We're always hunched
Mm,
over either on the laptop or our phones and driving. So it's like bringing alignment back, bringing more spaciousness back into our body. And, our posture can say a lot about us, and it can actually affect our mood. They go hand in hand, so it's really important to yeah, be conscious of your posture and not always be looking down. Um, I've also got a course, the Empowered Mind.
mm.
That's all about nervous system regulation, getting to the root cause of your triggers, of your emotional patterns, identifying it, accepting it, and moving on, and then being able to smile in the face of future triggers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and learning a bit more about masculine and feminine energy, how to have a healthy balance moving through life, bringing more joy back in. A lot of us in the world is like operating too much from our masculine, which is that like go, 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 sleep is for the weak mentality. So,
Yeah.
we really want to move away from that. And what else is in there? Yeah, just helping. It's aimed at women, but men can do it also, other than from the womb healing meditation. But maybe they would find it beneficial, especially if they live with women.
Yeah.
But helping women just really find themselves, like find their identity, their confidence, be able to set boundaries. If they want to start a dance class, that they're like, you know what, I'm going to go for this, and like really being able to back themselves to like actually go to it, and
Mm,
just helping them come back to themselves. Yeah, that's the main part. And I've been there, like waking up in fearful states, anxious, having a tight chest and panicky. And you might even go through stages or for like phases in life where you're thinking, this isn't me, like I never was like this, or why am I reacting like this? So chances are it's your nervous system is just a little
mm.
bit dysregulated. But everything is an option, to heal.
Oh, for sure. It
Yeah.
absolutely is. And the things that are showing up now for us to recognize are the things that are necessary for you to move through into the next phase of your world, whatever that means.
Yes,
Next levels of impact, next levels of income, next levels of connection, the
yeah,
life you really desire to live. It's like the light is shining brightly on the work that needs to be done. And
totally.
so like I
Yeah,
keep saying this out loud to people, it's just like keep trusting the process of what's coming
true.
through. Keep doing the work, keep
Yeah.
dropping in, keep making the calls, keep stepping up, keep doing the things wherever you're being called to, because that's
Mm,
the space that we're working within right now. So,
totally. Yeah. And
yeah.
and if your body, I was speaking to a client last week, and they were pushing themselves to go to the gym because they thought it was really good to go to exercise after work. But they said that like every fiber in their body was like, I don't want to go. So
Yeah.
there's a difference between being lazy and actually knowing to like trust your body to slow down and just really rest. Like, it's winter. I guess it's not winter everywhere now, but
No,
you
we're
know,
in summer now. We're coming in summer.
yeah. Wow. Oh my God. But yeah, just taking the time, even if it's at weekends, just having time to like just like totally chill, relax. And I think, yeah, as you said, like surrendering,
Hmm.
trusting, knowing that you're not on your own. Like there's people all over the world feeling all the feels. And
Yeah.
yeah, I personally just have like such deep faith and like a belief that we're really turning the world around. We're coming back in tune with ourselves, each other, nature, and like creating the life and the world that we're like actually meant to be living on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. And it's like I want to say just one thing to people. It's like come back to yourself. Start really trusting that call. And it may look different than things you've done in the past or than your neighbors or than your family, especially too. But keep stepping into that and trusting that, because
Yeah.
in the flow and the connection here is the deep rooted connection why we're actually on earth. And through that is our mission, and whatever that means for
Yeah.
you. Everyone's
Yes.
missions are different. It may not be about creating businesses. Some people are like, I don't want to start a business. I'm like,
Mm.
not everyone's mission is in business. Okay, people, like, but it's like, it's that really rooted trust that's dropping through in all the spaces of everything. So
For
yeah,
sure.
I love this.
Mm.
I feel like we've done a really amazing job at kind of positioning this today in the podcast episode. So I just want to kind of close off with like, what are your last thoughts? Like, what is coming through you to share with humanity today to kind of close out anything really? Like, this is like the channeled message time.
Yeah.
So what are you feeling called to share? I just want to kind of close it out.
Well, the word community just dropped in.
Yeah, so go for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think the importance of, again, just because I've been on like a crazy journey and like living in different cities and time on my own and all of this, which is great, and solitude and all that, but like, yeah, finding your people. And it's all in our history as well, women coming together at the time of their bleed, and like tribes and all of this, like it's in our DNA, it's in our blood. And
Yeah.
um we, what is it, like we can hold traits of our ancestors up to 12 generations.
Mhm.
So yeah, I suppose that's kind of like more like healing. But yeah, I just feel it's just so important to like really find people. Yeah, I just feel, I don't know, we're like in some areas just very disconnected, and it's like, yeah, just coming back to like love and happiness, and yeah, just being there for each other and making this as enjoyable as possible, this like journey that we're all
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love this. And we don't even realize too, like we think about it from this physical body, ancestral
Mhm.
patterns. We don't even recognize though that we've also been incarnated in all these other bodies. So there's
Yeah.
all that too that we're dealing with. And a lot of the work that's coming up right now is healing past lives, even though they're not technically past, but like they're all happening at once. But going back into those lives and healing those lives and removing ancestral patterns and working with the ancestor lineage lines to shift energies. This is what's happening right now in the collective. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
bringing that up, it's just like we're all coming together for this. We're all being
Yeah.
reunited in these
Oh,
spaces to get back
yeah.
into who we really are as humans. So
Totally, absolutely. Yeah. And it's I did a few women's circles when I was living back in Ireland, and I did a talk. It was for um, people in the travel industry. So yeah, corporate, I guess. And as I was doing the presentation, I was like, this is like quite out there for this like type of like, industry.
yeah,
But it was about, what does strength and success mean to you? And it was, yeah, I guess a bit deep, and there was a bit of spirituality in there. But there was like over 100 people in the room, and whether they had ever thought about what I was speaking about before or not, I
mhm,
had all of their attention. And like, I know it's because their soul recognized what I was talking about,
yeah,
so it's like, even if people feel like really disconnected or distant from themselves, or like same with the women's circles, like so many women afterwards say, I didn't know anyone in that room, but I felt really connected to everyone in there. It's like,
yeah,
you might feel disconnected or you don't know what's going on, but like your soul always knows. And um yeah, as you just said, like about coming back to ourselves is just so important. And
yeah,
it's like, it's what we're meant to be doing. It's like, that's what alignment is.
yeah, yeah. It's so true. Yeah, so if you guys, there's a lot to take in this podcast episode. There's a lot here for everybody in all different kinds of ways. And it's just like, coming back to yourself, coming back to that
Mm.
alignment, trusting the body, allowing the body to release. We have full capacity to heal ourselves and starting to trust
Yeah.
that mechanism inside of
Yeah.
everything. So,
Yeah.
Stephanie, it's been amazing. I'm super grateful that we got connected and that you are here to share your light into the world and to move this through. I'm going to highly encourage people, if they're listening to this and something pinged them, or they've got a question about something, or they want to jam out with you, to go find you where all the places that they can, and go send you a
Mm.
DM on Instagram and just say like, hey, I listened to that podcast with Colleen and da 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 da, and to like continue to step into this. Like it's like we're all here
Yeah.
for reasons, as catalysts,
Yes.
as activators, as triggers, as just confidants. And it's like start to
Mhm.
trust the pathway which you're being called upon. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. And yeah, if
Yeah.
there's any like feedback or if you did listen, I would absolutely love to hear from you. So please send me a message.
Yeah, and I say this all the
And
time, and I'm like, I want you guys to, like, encouraging
yeah,
you to, like we love it when
totally.
people jump up into our DMs and tell us, hey, I listened to that episode and this is what I took from it. It's like, yeah, my body's in goosebumps. It's like step into that
Oh,
space.
yeah,
So
it's
yeah.
what it's all about, isn't it?
Oh, it
Yeah.
totally is. It totally
Thank
is.
you for having me. I've absolutely loved it. I really did.
Yeah, amazing. And
It's been
yeah,
so
thank you
fun.
again. And for all of you guys listening, just super grateful your
Yes.
ears are on this and you're taking the time and energy to be here
Mm,
and to
much
experience this.
appreciated.
And yeah, we're just so grateful. So we will see you
Thank
guys
you.
all in the next episode.